So Tim asked me, he's like, "What are you guys looking to do with this car today?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. We'll be happy if if we can get close to 180." I didn't want to tell him that, yeah, we're gonna do the 200 on it. And so he goes, "Okay." He goes, "That's cool." He goes, "Once you get up there," he goes, "you may not have enough wing on it, the spoiler on it on the back." And he goes, "You might want to just try and be careful with it once it gets up above 160, 170. He said, "Just from what we know out of the wind tunnel on Big Red." And we're like, okay. So we go through that, and he gives us a few other pointers and gives Jimmy some pointers, which was very cool. And so we send Jimmy out. And Jimmy, the crazy madman he is, his first run was like 188 or 189, something like that. And I was like, holy cow.
That was spinning.
Yeah, spinning and carrying on, leaving and everything else. So.
All right, welcome back to Making Speed. Almost forgot the name again. Noah Alexander, Charles Cruz. Today on the show we have the Greenings, Jesse and Apache Jeff. What's going on, guys?
Good. Not much. Just hanging out with y'all.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on. We're I think this is our 21st. Is that right?
That's been the last 4 episodes. You said 21st.
We've been stuck on 21 for, I don't know. They said they got to keep saying 21 if they're shitty, and they've been pretty bad. So here we go.
Let's make this one good.
We'd like to start by recognizing our beer sponsor, New Glazerous. They're a Wisconsin brewery that refuses to distribute outside the state. However, our customer Denny brings this down to us. So, along with like a cooler of cheese.
And one big sausage.
Nice.
So we're real stopped up, and we got to piss. It's a problem. But damn, that
hardly walk.
I don't know if it was
Who's your beer sponsor over there?
Yeah, who do you guys have?
We got a Sam Adams today.
Delicious.
Adams. All right.
Right now, it's Sam Adams.
Is that a summer brew or a something like that?
Yeah.
We'll take a sponsor.
You will? All right. Tim's sponsored by Natty Light, but he has adapted to New Glazerous. In fact, one time we went to a brewery and they had a bunch of like uppity fancy brews, and everybody ordered one, and then Tim said, "What do you have any Busch Light?" And they said, "Nope."
They said, "Go fuck yourself and get out of
here." I think I actually tried one of those beers in the parking lot in Columbus.
These beers? Did we have them with us?
Yeah, we had them with us.
At the hotel.
Yeah,
Your dad
had a cooler of them, and you offered me one, and they were very good.
They're good. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's delicious, so.
We're hooked.
We're good. We've got a whole freezer or refrigerator full of them. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. It's free. The best kind's free.
We like that.
Yeah.
Free and cold. We're paying to refrigerate it, but outside of that, I guess, it's free.
Pretty much free.
Yeah.
Free pizza is always better, no matter how shitty it is. So, true. Prove me wrong.
We've got a good customer down in Florida that drinks Natty Light all the time.
Yeah,
he's a really wealthy dude, but we always give him shit all the time that we understand how he's able to afford these cars, because he sure as hell don't spend it on beer.
Nope, he's saving little by little, beer by beer.
That's right.
Either that or he likes to drink a lot. You could drink 30 of those and still be sober, I think. So.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's like drinking 5 normal beers.
It is.
I think. I don't know.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, Tim, you live off that stuff.
I love Natty Light. Don't talk shit on my beer.
Yes. Sorry. So, for people that are not familiar with you guys, you have won 2 Ridler Awards. Look at that.
Yeah, look. That's what they look like, guys.
See?
Hey.
Where's your cool? You got the cool jacket.
First one was in
when was
2000.
the first? Right. And what car was that?
It was Paul Atkins' car. We built it jointly with him.
Right.
So it was kind of it was 33 Ford Speedstar, one of Alloy's first hardtop car, or the coupes, Yeah. And he was just doing roadsters for a while, and then that was one of the first ones that come out. So, and Paul actually had the idea of putting some real narrow Americans. They were big inch Americans at the time. That was back in 90 or 2000, I guess. And 99 and 2000. And we put a motorcycle hoop on them and ran motorcycle tires on the front wheels. Yeah. And So it gave it that kind of gasser look back then. So then it had a 20 by 10 in the rear. So it was kind of a cool look.
Yeah, that is cool. Where is that car today? Do you know?
I think it's
Colorado
somewhere in some guy's collection. I think he paves roads. Doesn't he have one of your?
He has my old Chevy.
Yeah, there's
35.
Yeah, a few years after that car, we built a 34 Chevrolet sedan and a full fendered car for Dad. And somehow that guy ended up with it through an auction at some point too. So those cars are actually together. So that's kind of cool.
He's buying up all your stuff.
First ones. Yeah. What's that?
He's buying up all your stuff. One at a time.
That's good. That's good.
But he'll never get your red truck.
No.
No.
The red truck stays in the family.
There you go.
How long have you had that red truck, Jeff?
Over 40 years.
Wow.
Well, we have pictures of me sitting on the dash of it when you had the jams cut in on it.
Yeah.
And that was your very first paint job ever, right?
I thought you were going to say from last year at Columbus. You was sitting
right.
yeah, he was sitting on the dash.
Yeah, that was
that was pretty
too.
late that night, I thought. I kind of remember that.
That's another story there.
But yeah, I was a year old in that photo, and I'm 45 now, so he's had it quite a few years.
We'll put
but it's still the same paint on it, most of it. So it's some old paint on it.
Yeah.
We'll put the picture up of we stalked through your looked through your Instagram and we found a picture.
Cool.
We found a picture of you wearing bell bottoms, plaid bell bottoms. It looks I don't know, they're cool.
We did everything,
You look hot.
Because
you're outside. It's the summer. You're wearing wool pants.
I don't look any different, do I?
You look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jesse had a beard, but he's like 3. I don't know. It's
just
the way it goes.
He's had to shave his whole life.
Nothing has changed.
Not a thing. Just got a little taller.
So
I've got my COVID beard going on right now. My COVID beard and COVID haircut right now.
So when COVID goes away, it's like a rally beard, like in baseball. When COVID goes away, you're gonna shave.
That's it. I've made it. I can shave it now.
My kids just told me to grow a dirty mustache. I don't know where they got that from, so I started growing this mustache. It only lasted like, I don't know. I couldn't stop messing with it. I was licking it, sucking on it. It was terrible.
I was starting to feel a little creeped out.
People didn't like it. And then finally I was like, nope. My wife wouldn't come near me. She was protesting. I was like, I'm helping out this pandemic. I'm cheering it anyway. It only lasted a couple weeks.
I grew one over Christmas, and I come back to the shop and had it after a vacation, and they were calling me porn star. I don't know how that got out.
Well, we know, but we can't tell. We can talk about a lot of stuff, but we're not going to talk about it on here. I think mustaches are hard because no one ever compliments on the. Does anybody ever say, "Hey, I really like the mustache you grew"? It just becomes like it's like you had one before and it came back, or and no one says shit, or it just kind of becomes accepted, but nobody's ever like, I really that looks good on you. I'm glad you grew a mustache. Those are words that have never been heard.
Maybe if you had a mullet too, they would say, "Damn, you're looking good."
I think if you could combo that mustache with something else, you could probably pick up some compliments. Yeah, a mullet. So what was the second Ridler car that you bought?
The second one was Dwayne Peace's T-Bird back in 2012. So, and then by then they were giving out the builder's trophy along with the winner's trophy as well. So the owner's trophy, and that's how we have that one. But we don't have one in 2000 with Paul's car because they weren't giving them out then. But Paul around the corner has the trophy still in his showroom and over in his shop. So it's pretty cool. See it every once in a while.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Go for a visit.
Yeah, go for a visit. Rub it a little, and then move on.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do when I visit things. Rub it a little. And sound good. You're supposed to help me out, Tim.
Yeah.
Say no, stop.
Don't say that again.
Red zone. Yeah. Stop. Red light. Anything. Warning.
Edit.
So then how long have you been building cars before you built the first Ridler car?
We didn't.
As a hobby in Dad's garage out back ever since I can remember.
Just my truck, I guess.
Yeah, but then, so we were tinkering out there a bunch, and then we finally made a move from Michigan down to Alabama, near Paul, and then my mom's side of the family's from here, and that's what prompted the move there. But once we got here, we started doing a few things, and then Paul wanted to work on or do this build. And so we worked with him on it, and that kind of launched us into what we've got going now. So it was a pretty good launch platform. But it was good. Nobody can take it away from us. But as you guys know, things are way different back then than what it is now especially for that award. So even in any of it's just everything has changed, over the years, as it does, I guess. But yeah, it was pretty tough nowadays to be able to compete and compete well at Detroit, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking 25,000 hours or more to build a Ridler contender, even, it's hard to find the customer that will support that.
That's right. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of shops have the talent, and the manpower and everything to do it, but it just comes down to that customer, really.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then keeping the thing going, it's just not just the talent to be able to put all that stuff together. It's the person that can keep the customer alive and keep things going and keep everything friendly and happy and during the whole thing. And as you guys know, that can be tough, but, for whatever reasons, for a plethora of reasons, but it's a tough deal anymore nowadays, just because it's gotten so far out there.
There's not many it's one of the things that we try to kind of nurture beyond the actual build of the car. It's hard because there's not many other business relationships where you have it's like you might have the same lawyer for a long time, or the same doctor for a while, or the same accountant, but you usually see them like once a year, and that's kind of it. But to have somebody that's paying you money every month for a really, 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 really long time, that exceeds even home building.
It's a marriage. I mean, it is, because there's so many decisions that have to be made.
That's right.
And then the money part of it, and then the patience. Because a Ridler build can take 3 to 5 years or more in some instances. So,
we've been really fortunate to have multiple projects and stuff for one individual,
right?
And for several of our customers are repeat customers, I guess what I was getting at. But and I think most of that stems from outside of the build, outside of the car. It's what we're doing afterwards with it, hanging out, going on tours. Or just having a damn good time in a parking lot at a show or something, that carries a lot of weight. And it stems some really good relationships for Dad and I. We have some pretty close friends that were customers and sometimes still are, just depending on what they got going on. So, it's a pretty cool deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, these guys, they want to have a good time. Well, speaking of our customers anyway, I mean, they want to have a good time and do the build, and then come to all the car shows with you. It's like, I think that's, for them, that's like 50% of the experience is just hanging out, and the other 50 is the car,
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We had several years. The property we're on right now is, it's about 5 acres and shop, and it's half it's kind of wooded, but Mom and Dad's house is here on the property, and several years ago, we built a little cabin for Dad's folks come down and visit, from Michigan at times. They've since passed away, but we'll have customers come and stay 3 or 4 days out in the cabin.
Oh, yeah?
With us.
That's cool.
and so they'll stay in the cabin, and then they're up here. I might give them something to tinker on with the project and something like that. And so it kind of lends them kind of a unique experience, I guess, with it. They get a little hands-on. They see what's going on with it all and everything else. So, so most of our customers we lend that to, and if they want to do it, but it's kind of a cool thing.
Well, we didn't know you had accommodations, or we would have,
we would have came down.
We would have purchased something at least a couple spark plugs or something, just so he
buy a
get free stay in the.
If we buy a T-shirt, can we stay in the
You
cabin?
don't have to purchase anything.
No.
Just bring something from the distillery.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah, we can do that. That's not going to be a problem. So.
Yeah, do that, and then we'll fire up the Barbie. And
Oh man.
We
Have a
even
big
have a
time.
small still. We could make it look pretty authentic. Set up outside the cabin, and we'll make something right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect for it.
Yeah.
You guys can lay down right underneath it and open up your mouth, and we'll get a good buzz going that way.
Sure, we could.
Yeah.
That'd probably kill the COVID too. Maybe that's what Trump was talking about the other day.
He put his ass up
that.
to the. He had it go right in his ass, and then it cleansed the inside of him. Is what it did.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about the news. Really, I had to go back and watch that. I was like, they run away with this crap. So I went back and watched. I mean, he was like, he barely mentioned. He didn't talk about bleach. He didn't talk about anything. He barely mentioned it. But he did spend a while talking about shining light through your body, which they missed the best part. That was the best part.
I know.
And I'm
that's
like,
the part that probably would have worked.
I'm like, they're shining light through bodies. The news no one picked up on that. They talked about something that I had to watch it twice to actually pick up what they were like going on and on and on about. And Lysol says don't shove these where, and you can't wipe out your insides, and don't drink this, and he barely mentioned that. So whatever. But the light thing, God.
It was just because they were asking stupid questions. He gave a stupid answer.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah. They were. So, how long have you guys been doing? I don't know how big your machine shop is, but you've turned out some really incredible looking wheels. I was going through them the other day.
Thank you.
They're amazing. I was thinking maybe if we kind of could machine the center of just one, we could stay in the cabin. That was another way I was trying to maybe throw you guys.
Yeah.
That being said, all different styles. I mean, they really look incredible. How long have you guys been doing that?
Let's see. I bought, I think, first CNC machine probably 10, 12 years ago. Probably 12 years ago.
Yeah, probably 12.
And then it kind of evolved into a mill. That was a lathe that I got in at first.
Right. Then
it evolved into a small mill. And, I was always, probably like you guys too, I was always a big fan of Boyd, and he was able to make all his own stuff back in the day. And I was looking to try and get some of that stuff made on a project. And back 10, 12 years ago, it was really tough. It's not as prevalent as it is now. But, so I made the investment of a machine. I was always fascinated by it too. So I bought a really expensive damn software machine, and I kind of jumped in with both feet with the support of Dad, and so that was a good thing. And so I started learning it, and got my head wrapped around it, and then got over a little hump where I could hire somebody, and that was Wes. He's still with us now, and he's been with us a little over 10 years now, and he just runs all the machining out there. And then now we have George up in the office here. He's just handles all the CAD work and everything else. So he's and all the engineering side of it and everything else. So now I've finally got it to where I'm probably a dummy at it again. I come full circle. So these guys really roll with it. But I'm always there, as far as for some input, as design input, or how, usually customers will kind of come to me first at times, and then I'll set it up with George, so I don't, mess any of the information up and go to them. But as far as the size of it, it's just we've got our two machines, lathe, and a pretty good size little Haas. It's a VF3 SSYT machine, so it's high speed machine, and man, it just works its butt off out there for us. So Wes will have it running at night, sometimes all night, and we'll come back and there's a part there in the morning. So pretty nice stuff.
It's amazing when you get a new piece of equipment and when you buy it, you're thinking, am I really going to use it a whole lot? And then you get it, and then a year later, you're like, what the hell was I doing without this thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
We've kind of ran into that here.
There was one time I had two engineers going up front and had two mills, and then I just kind of changed things up and shrank it back a little bit, and just to have a little more control over it. I was kind of losing some control over it. But here lately, we've been kind of focusing into some private labeling parts. and making stuff for other people in a production fashion as opposed to just the one-off stuff. And that's George and I put a little focus on that this past year and a half, and it's starting to kind of climb and do pretty well for us. So it's looking like I'm going to go back into buying a few more machines just for some production stuff. So then I can dedicate a machine and probably Wes to the just to the one-off stuff and kind of keep that rolling as well. So
how many builds do you guys typically have going on at one time?
Right now there's about there's let's see three big builds going on and kind of all mixed together. One we've got for SEMA, so we're hammering on that pretty good. The other one will probably end up at SEMA because we don't have anywhere else to debut it. Yeah. And it's a little 70 C10 truck, step-side truck, GMC, I guess, not C10, but it's a GMC. But that'll be a nice little truck. And then our SEMA project, and let's see, no, the Ford or the Rick's car.
Oh, Rick's car, 64 Galaxy.
Yeah, 64 Galaxy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's gonna be a nice car too.
Oh,
so
cool.
they're all road shop chassis cars, except for the Camaro. It's all DSE stuff under it. So
yeah.
But they're all nice projects. I'm really happy and excited about them. They're all higher end cars, and so it'll be pretty good. So we'll hopefully see those through in the next year and a half, so everybody gets to see them.
You guys think SEMA's going to happen this year?
Gosh, man,
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm reluctantly optimistic, I guess, but it's I was on a Skype deal judging some of the Battle of the Builders, the Young Guns stuff this past weekend. Actually, it was supposed to happen over in Atlanta, but they canceled the show, so we did it all via Skype, or not Skype, but Zoom, I guess. And yeah, so it was a pretty good thing. It worked out good. But one of the higher ups, Ira there from SEMA, he was there, and he said everything's full steam ahead still. So let's hope so. And I'm just worried that it's indoors and it's so many foreign people, being flown in and everything, that I think that might put a real damper on it. So we'll see though. Let's hope so.
Well, I'm wondering how many companies just are going to try to hold on to cash and not spend it going to SEMA.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But anybody, I don't know about you guys, but anybody I've talked to, man, they're just gangbusters right now, trying to keep up with everything.
I think that's the case for most people. But the problem is, even though they've got orders, they're running half staff because
that's true. That's a good point.
People have elected to stay home, and then they can't. Their production's gone way down because of that.
Yeah.
Especially in California, like we're trying to get a set of wheels right now, and they keep saying, "Oh, it's another week. It's another week. It's another week." And it's not really their fault. There's nothing they can do about it. But I think there's a lot of companies that are in that situation right now.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. And then I think it's actually, we're probably going to see it at some point. Just when, who knows? Hopefully we don't. But I mean, it's got to affect us at some point. We'll come around it, catch up with us sometime maybe, unless it kicks back off and it starts rocking and rolling again. And
hopefully it does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Have you guys seen any big supply chain issues come your way yet? Just parts you couldn't get? Most of it's still rolling in.
Yeah, everything's still rolling in. We're able to, our aluminum material, we actually buy it out of Nashville, and we're getting it delivered pretty steadily. It might be a day late than usual, but that's fine. We usually order ahead of time. But some of the shipping will be weird, but that's about it. That's that we've seen. Everybody's getting us stuff that we need, thank goodness. So.
Right. We were thinking we would have bigger problems than we actually did, do right now, but it's still, shipping stuff here and there, but it's still rolling in.
Yep,
good.
Which has been nice.
So Jeff, how did you get started in the whole car hobby? I mean, just from a kid, or?
Yeah, well, Dad had a Chevrolet dealership, Chevy and Olds, with his brother, my uncle. Well, they bought it from my grandfather. That was in 36. I think 36 when they started it. It was Greening Auto Company back then.
In Alabama? Was it located in Alabama?
No, it was in Michigan.
In Michigan? Okay.
Central Michigan.
There's a picture of the I saw there's a picture somewhere of the maybe it's your father, your grandfather, somebody standing next to an old vehicle, and it says, I don't remember exactly all the detail of the picture, but
probably it was grandfather.
Grandfather,
How old the car was? 30s.
Yeah, I think it was probably your grandfather then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably grandfather, especially if he had a hat on. But he had that place in a small town. Well, then he sold it to my dad and uncle. They moved to a bigger city in Michigan, a little bigger city, and started calling it L&Q, which is Luther and Quentin.
Yeah.
My dad's Quentin, and they had that for a while. So I'd been in it all throughout my whole life. I was mixing paint when I was 13 years old for the body shop. So.
Right.
Cool.
And I mean, I was mixing RM paint.
Yeah, RM back then, yeah.
Yeah,
Lacquer.
yeah. So he was an RM, used it in the body shop, so used that stuff forever. So it's just, I don't know. It's just always been there, and I've always had a shop at my house.
Right.
And made money on the side. For a while, I hauled milk in a milk truck, went from the dairy farm to the dairy.
Right.
I did that 15 years. Knew I didn't want to work that hard. Jesse didn't want to work that hard. So wait a minute. Well, now we're working probably harder, but
but we're enjoying it more.
Yeah, if we want to take a day off, we can. We don't. I mean, it's not. You don't have to be there.
Right.
That's true.
Like where milk, you do. So,
anyways,
that's how all that story come about.
We get some of these cool stuff around too. It's I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's like says 60 Chevy on it.
Yeah.
This was some of the GM dealership stuff back in the day, but it has, it has.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow,
Company
that's cool.
And then look at the phone number.
There you go. Back when it was easy.
Yep.
That stuff's laying around here.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now that we don't have to remember phone numbers anymore, I feel like the only way I could remember any phone number is if we could actually just go back to a 4-digit phone number. Then maybe we could make it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't
Start
know.
over again.
Yeah.
I know my wife's phone number and
Yeah, that's about the only phone number.
my
I know, too.
dad. That's about it.
Yeah.
I know. I think
I'm the same way.
I know mine.
Are you
That's
sure
good,
about
that's
that?
Good.
It
What's your
sounded
number?
like
We're
you
gonna
asked that
tell
as a
everybody.
question. I know mine.
I had to tell somebody just the other day. So
If you look down at the bottom of your palm, you can see.
It's next to your locker combination.
I know it to be right. Locker combination.
It says made in China and it has my number there.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Oh.
So when did you buy the? We know you as the guy with the red truck. It's kind of like I don't know.
Where all the people are partying.
The red.
Let's go to the park.
Where the red truck is, you are near. So
good times are to happen.
Isn't that funny?
In which year did you buy the Apache? How long have you owned that?
I think it was 74, 75. I paid $250 for it. Yep. We were putting a house up then, the wife and I, and we were going to put a pad of concrete down where the walkout basement was, and that happened to be $250. I said, hey, I found a pickup I'd really like to have. I knew the guy, I went to school with him. He had it. Had a little shack on the back of it and a little camper. And so she said, well, we can always put the concrete in. Let's go get the truck. So I went and bought it. I heard it at home.
Yeah.
Straight axle, froze up steering and kingpins. And so I heard it at home and I started restoring it. And then probably 15 or 20 years later, put Nova subframe, Nova in, did the normal stuff, hot rodded it, 283 in it.
Some of those cool 5-spoke IROC wheels on it.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Those look good. Yeah, the Camaro wheels, they look really good.
Hey, they were 15-inch.
Did you have a mullet back then?
Yeah. Oh, I used to have a suitcase on the top, a sunroof.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Well, I was going to tell you something else about that. Anyways, I did put the Nova stuff under it, and then one day I told Jesse and I said, we had to put a roaster shop chassis under that.
Right.
So it went from there.
And do you think you have the highest mileage roadster shop chassis underneath that?
I don't know. I know a guy who's got a 50 Chevy pickup.
Yeah.
That has 40,000 miles on it when mine was 30.
Right.
Maybe I've passed him, maybe I'm not. It's got 42 on it now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just drove it the other day.
Yeah.
And what kind of engine's in it now?
It's Don Hardy built it for me. 5.3 it started, but it's bigger now. I'm not sure exactly what all, but it runs way better now. A lot faster.
When we first put it together, he had a
GM.
You and Don found that crate engine, like a replacement crate engine for one of those little SSR trucks.
Right.
So it was like a 4 or 5.3 all aluminum motor they ran in those things.
Yeah.
So got that out of a swap meet, I guess.
Yeah.
Put it in, and then we machined an intake for it with 8-stack on it, and that Borla had at the time. And it wasn't Borla then, but it now is since then it's Borla. But we put that on it, and man, we ran it about 15,000 miles just with stacks on it.
Well, no, it was more than that. I just changed it.
Well,
it was about 38,000.
Well, then we put filters on it after that. Started using a little oil, so we thought maybe we better put some filters on it. So it got another almost 40,000 miles out of that motor, and it was really using some oil. And so that's when we sent it to Don, and then he punched it out and made it I don't know exactly what it is, like Dad said, but it's a lot stronger now, so it's good. And then we took the 8-stack back off and put a Holley, throttle body on it and so forth, and put your old valve covers
and air cleaner.
That's one of the things we're doing. We're machining all the conversions for Don Hardy out there. All the
nice.
Valve cover conversions, and so we used one of his sets of the conversions. So we got your old valve covers off your small block out of your Chevelle you had in high school.
Yeah, high school, yeah. Air cleaner and valve covers.
Yeah, so those, the old air. So we had those replated and put them on it. So it looks pretty cool in there.
That is cool.
It's kind of back to where it was whenever I was a kid.
Nice. So. We haven't tried a Hardy engine yet. We've talked to him a few times. We're probably going to sell a project pretty soon, I think, where we can use one. But he's got one hell of a good reputation, it sounds like.
Oh,
yeah. Man, he's good on the details with it, and as far as making them look really cool and everything else, and the ones we've ran, well, Dad proving it every time he runs it. He runs the shit out of that thing. It's hanging up. It's holding together good.
So. It works.
I know what I was going to tell you too. The wheels, my 15-inch IROCs. Well, now the rotors are 15 or almost 15 inches.
Right.
So the rotors are as big as the wheels I had on it. Bear brakes. Plug.
Yeah, plug number 2.
We'll count them. Plastic paint.
Yeah.
Here and there. Well, it was RM originally, though.
Yeah, it was RM.
Yeah, RM lacquer on it.
Yeah, RM
most
lacquer.
Of it.
And then, we use some glazer to touch it up here and there.
And you guys have always used that since you've been in business, right? Use Glazer products?
All but a couple years.
Okay. Yeah, and then we had some trouble with the competitor. And then actually Wes, our machinist, his father was the local rep for Glazer. And so we got Wes through his dad. And so we've known Ray, his father, about 12 years. He was the local rep. He's retired since then, but he's the one who got us using it.
18 years.
Or 18, yeah, it would have been 18 years ago. Yeah. So about 18 years we've been using it. So it's been pretty steady with it for pretty much from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good products. I mean,
the
support
excellent.
Too is really.
I've always said if something screws up on the paint, it's our fault, not theirs.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, weve had good luck with it, and like Charles said, awesome support if you ever need anything or.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's actually what because Ray came in when we were having troubles with the other. This was our second build we ever done, and we were having troubles with some solvent popping on it. I think I was painting then, wasn't I?
Yeah, I think you painted that.
Which you wouldn't want me to roll the kitchen right now, but we were having troubles with some solvent popping. Ray come in here and he goes, I can probably fix your problem with it. I think I know what's going on. we said, well, if you think you can do that, because we weren't getting any support out of the other one, so we said, we'll just buy whatever you got and we'll put on top of it. And it was good, stayed. That was the last time we messed with that one. And then from there on out, like Dad said, if it's a problem, it's usually something we've done to kind of screw it up. So it's pretty good stuff.
So you guys were did you go from Alabama to Nashville, back to Alabama? Does that sound right?
Yep.
And
that's right.
How long were you in Nashville?
Almost 6 years.
And that was when you were chasing your country music career. Is that right? Is that why you went there?
Yeah, that was it. And then
couldn't get my banjo tuned.
Yeah, this damn thing won't tune right.
It won't tune. I could make it shiny, but I sure couldn't play
it. This is harder than I thought it would be. This damn banjo.
Yeah, we shouldn't have moved here.
So we went up there, had an opportunity on some commercial property and got a hold of that, and then that whole deal kind of went south with some ground issues and contamination issues. So luckily, in the whole time we were up there, we were trying to sell this place where we started and began. We built this building with my grandfather, Dad's dad, before he passed away, 21 years ago, and we were trying to sell the property in the place, just never sold, and I guess there's a reason why, but we went in, I think, in Nashville up around 2010, right after the flood,
right,
and right into East Nashville. I bought a house in East Nashville, and Mom and Dad were over by Opera Mills, over Donaldson area, and a great town, miss it today, and cool city, and but we had the troubles there, and so I figured, you know what? By the time, let me back up. I was going to go lease a place for a little bit, just trying to get settled again. Right. And hell, that town had grown crazy, and in that time that we were there, and hell, I couldn't. It was ridiculous just to we were in 15,000 square feet up there, and I was trying to. I couldn't even afford 4,000 square feet, to go into something, to make the cash flow work right, or to make it make sense, I guess. But so we decided, hell, let's roll back down here, and two of the guys came with us. I think I had the shop up to about 12 guys, right? And one time, so it was rolling along pretty good there for a while, but that just kind of knocked us in the dirt there. Like I said before, I had my ducks in a row there, but somebody yanked a duck, and so we had to go to Plan B. And Plan B now is working out good here, so it's good. I guess it was meant to be, 20/20 hindsight.
So were you renting it, and then you were gonna? I think you told me about it. You were renting it, and then you were gonna buy it, and when you went to buy it, they did like a soil test or something. Or?
I went in with a land contract with the owner, and then with some clean environmentals, and then I was refinancing it to get it away from them. And when I was doing that, the bank wanted to do a current environmental. Right. So standardization had changed in that gap. So it was about as far as the environmentals, it was about a 6-7 year gap. And so when I ordered that up, they dug deeper and broader, and they found a bunch of stuff underneath it. So so we negotiated a buyout, and it all worked out good. So it was good. He was good to us, and we made our way back down here, and so it worked out.
Good.
Cool. Got out of that one.
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah,
that could have been expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
it's good.
So, out of all the builds that you guys have done, what is your favorite build so far to date?
Oh, damn.
I guess mine's that 33 Chevy at Don Montgomery's. That 2-tone charcoal and silver.
Yeah. It was a Mercury body we had done for him.
Chevy.
One reason it was the first car we did for Don, and now we've done the little Valiant for him, the patinaed Valiant.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kind of dubbed Pissed Off.
Yeah.
So And then
that white truck,
it's got a little 56 Ford white truck. We've messed around with him, but outside of all that, it just spurred an amazing friendship with Don, and he lives out in Sedona, and we go and hang with him all the time, and he comes here and stays, and we're just really good friends, and it's above it all it sparked that, so that was a cool deal.
Got an awesome place in Sedona.
Yeah.
Love to stay.
His cabin's way better than ours.
Oh yeah. I told him if I was going to win the lottery, if I ever win it, I'm going to buy a place just a little higher than him.
Right.
Like,
a little bit further up.
He laughs about it. He said, "Go do it."
Win it.
Now, that car was in Saudi Arabia, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, that was when we took over there for in the Magnum Flow booth.
He just got that home.
Yeah, just got it back a week and a half ago.
So. Oh yeah, we got our stuff back.
It's been about 2 months now.
2 months, I think.
Yeah. So it's been trickling in. So, but yeah, luckily it wasn't beat up at all. So.
Right.
So he was cool. So it was good. Made me feel better about having him take him over. So.
Right.
Our stuff made it through just fine.
Did it?
Yeah. No issues.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Volkswagen made it.
Well, the shocks got ripped off the back of the Volkswagen, but I think that's because they strapped it down and went around the shock. So I mean, that's minor, nothing major.
That's good. That's easy. It's easy.
Yeah,
I heard horror stories like footprints on the top of the cars and shot or frame hats or the spring perch busted off of the frame.
Really?
And A-arms going through the fender where they probably dropped the container or something.
Yeah, I would say they dropped the container.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Or it hit like a 90-foot roller wave out in the middle of the ocean, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably dropped the container though.
Yeah.
We've shipped a lot of vehicles overseas, and it's been I haven't had anything bad happen, but it seemed like some of the stuff that went over there. I don't know.
Knock on that wood table there, Noah.
I've seen some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been kind of lucky there.
Right.
Yeah. I think we're going to beer up.
All right, hold on. I'll be right back. You stay here, Charles.
Oh, man, he's fast.
Different? You know something different? Yeah. I'm going to change beer brands, I think.
What do you want?
What do I want? A Corona. That Corona.
Yeah, drink a Corona. That's a good beer. I bought some Corona the other day at the grocery store, and people were looking at me like,
this Premier.
That's the good stuff right there.
That's a light. That's a light. But we'll drink it. What else was I was gonna say something about that? Oh, that Corona thing about Corona disease. You just hope you can get a Lyme disease then too. You got to have that with it.
What's wrong?
I'll take a natty light.
Oh, Tim needs beard up too over here.
Oh yeah. Hey, get another nanny light.
Sorry, Tim. Leaving you out.
Hey.
Oh man.
I always get forgot about back here.
There you go. Cheers.
So one car, Jesse, that I think you guys built that I thought was really cool for the time was that little white Roadster that you guys did.
Oh God, yeah, it was Jesse's car.
Yeah, that was my own car. And gosh, that was so much fun. And then like all of them, I don't know why they seem to get in the way, so I just put them up for sale.
Yeah.
And, so I sold it off. But yeah, I put that thing together, and I think I had it just a few months. And what did I have it? We finished it in May.
Yeah.
I think I sold it I sold it in December. It was right over Christmas or something like that of that year. But I put 4,200 miles on that little thing over the summer and just in a few months. And
you just knocked it out of the park with that thing because it was it was different, than most everybody else had ever done with the car like that. And the wheels that you made, like everything was just spot on. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a fun project. I was trying to add, I was trying to do, some traditional styling with some different materials. So I was using the carbon on it, and I had some carbon posts and then we were teaching ourselves some stuff during that project too. So we did all our own carbon molds on it. and
vacuum formed.
Yeah, vacuum formed them and that stuff. I had help from a guy in Indy and on the windshield post because they were a structural piece, but just some of the cosmetic stuff and as far as the carbon goes, we did ourselves in house just to try and learn on it.
Yeah.
And now we've got good people out there like Zach at Z-Rods to, and but she has a different name for his components or for his composite company now. I can't remember it right now, unfortunately, but we kind of rely on him now for some of the bigger carbon pieces, especially because he's more geared up for it. But yeah, so we did that, and then also another thing we were really dabbling with at that time too was 3D printed metal parts, and so I did all the pedals on the car in 3D metal printed pieces, a bunch of switches and stuff that was going to be working and handled. I wanted to see how it was going to hold up and last and we're able to do that with it being our own car and I can kind of branch out a little bit with it. So if something breaks, I don't have anybody pissed at me.
Right.
No, but the car did amazing. We drove the hell out of that thing and it was just a good running car. CNR did the little custom radiator in it for me. We had the damn thing in Joshua Tree Park coming out at LA Roadster Show, or not the it was the Roadster Show. Coming back out of there, back towards Don's place in Sedona, and there was four of us, four roadsters rolling across the desert there, and man, it was like what
115,
116, and that car ran right at the thermostat the whole time, and it just hummed right along across there, and we were running them pretty good, 80, 90 mile an hour across the desert there. It's just a nice, pretty road that time. But yeah, it was some really good experiences in that car. It was good to do. And that's probably one that I've built for myself over the years that I really miss. And I mean, if I had it today, I'd be driving that home tonight.
Yeah.
We got some sun and a nice cool evening, so it'd be a good day to have that top and drive home. But
that was a great build.
Yeah, thank you.
Before it's 100 degrees and it's really humid.
Yes,
the sweet spot right now. Yeah.
It's on its way.
We get the same terrible weather you guys get. It's like, oh man.
Yeah.
It's like a wet blanket.
So you guys have
Fortunately, we flip the air on here in the shop, so this shop's a little smaller, so it's easier to air condition.
Yeah. We've got air conditioning in one back corner, and then we use fans to try to pump that to the rest of the shop.
It will pull the humidity out of most of the shop, so it's actually like, it's not ideal, but
the guys in the body shop get screwed because
they're at the end. Yeah, you've got
they got a hot paint booth over there.
They're not doing well. They keep quitting.
They're very skinny.
Yeah, they're very skinny.
They're the ones physically working probably the hardest.
Maybe we should move them around. I don't know. We don't want them to clog up the filters in the HVAC system.
There you go.
We got a lot of reasons.
I gotta clean mine daily out in the body shop.
So another thing I've noticed about you, you pulled off white really well with some of your builds. Like that's not a color that you see a lot of builders use. People are scared of it, I think, and you've done really well with that.
Thank you. Yeah, you can
light,
get the
light colors, white, grays, and that.
Yeah, you can get the refrigerator effect out of that real easy.
Yeah.
Or the appliance look, but you just, I don't know. I guess just putting some nice rich tones along with it. Can kind of find something that complements it well, and you can pull it off that way. And sometimes on the right car it works too. So there's some cars I just don't know that I'd do it with. But that's that, or I could just been lucky too. That's probably the case more so than not.
Yeah, right.
Now the Maverick isn't necessarily. It's more of a gray, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a real light gray. It's actually really close to what they put on the Ford Raptors.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Mustangs, but it's, we worked with Glazeret to come up with that color. We used those colors as a reference because they were Ford colors. That whole car I wanted to keep Ford influenced, so that was important to Jimmy and important to us as I got into it a little farther. And so we kept it real close to that color that Ford had, and then the white we used the Ford Mustang white just on the hood. There is a white patch on the hood. That's the only white on it. But actually there was I think a GT 300 or 350 I think one of the newer ones that is that gray color. I think or maybe it was a custom one. I don't know.
No,
but
they made that color. Yeah.
And then they had white stripes on it, and so it looks so good together on that car with the carbon on it and everything else. And I thought, I worked with Eric Brockmeyer. I was like, I want to try and figure out a scheme to get that in there, but not look like that, but I want to have that flavor to it. So, and Eric threw a bunch of different options at me as far as striping, and that come up pretty good. So,
and the red, white, and blue stripes on the mirror and spoilers.
Yeah,
side spoilers.
Did a little nod to America on it with the red, white, blue stripes. America.
Yeah, instead of Italian, green, red, and whatever it is. Yeah, we put red, white, blue.
So how fast have you guys gone in that car so far? I know you were telling us you went out. What's the event?
It's in Blytheville, Arkansas.
Right.
So it's not too far from you guys, but it's ECTA. East Coast Timing Association, and just a great group of gals. They put on a great event. It's low key, so we felt very relaxed. It was the first time we'd ever done anything like that, so we wanted to do something low key as opposed to just jumping into like the Texas Mile, where it's just kind of really media heavy and a lot of people there, and you're not getting very many runs. So we discovered this, and we went there, and we could have ran that car. We could have ran tanks of fuel out of it if we wanted to. We kept tuning it. We had Mark Bowler there, running the transmission computer, and then we had David Page from Fast, doing all the engine tuning with us, and Jimmy driving. He's driving it himself, and he's best of. Jimmy's like Don. He's one of the best to hang with and build a car with. But he'd get back on a run, and he'd just take his helmet off and his jacket, turn his race suit back a little bit and sit down off in a chair over there, and he'd tell us what it did, and then he'd just let us go to work, and then he'd go out and take it for another run. So
that's cool.
Great. But we made how many runs? 6 runs.
6 runs.
Yeah, so 6 runs that day that we did, and
no, in 3 days.
And was it 3 days?
Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings.
Because we kept.
No, we got it Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon.
So we
left Sunday. 2 days. And 6 runs. We were having to. I had to dash out of it once, trying to rewire some stuff so we could change some settings. So there's a lot of tuning done on it during those between those runs. And first run was, well, let me back up because it's a funny little story. We go up, we pull the car up into Tech, and Big Red's there. And I've been a huge fan of Big Red for years.
Absolutely.
And so those guys are over there, and we pull up to Tech, and I'm nervous as hell because I've never done like a race car. So I did a lot of homework in it, trying to get everything, up to spec and everything else. Well, I'm nervous at Tech, and then I'll be damned if Big Red boys just didn't pull right up next to us. And then they all gather around the damn Maverick. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I got to talking with those guys a little bit, and then just the nicest guys on the planet, man. They were so cool. They were very supportive and everything else. And I was talking, what was the main one? I can't remember his. Tim, I think it was. I believe so. He was kind of like the guy who's been with Big Red since the beginning. And he was telling us about them having it in the wind tunnel and everything else. And he was like, our goal with the car the whole time had been 200 mile an hour. And that's what Jimmy wanted to hit with it in a mile. And so Tim asked me, he's like, what are you guys looking to do with this car today? And I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll be happy if we can get close to 180. I didn't want to tell him that, we're going to do the 200 on it. And so he goes, okay. He goes, that's cool. He goes, once you get up there, he goes, you may not have enough wing on it, the spoiler on the back. And he goes, you might want to just try and be careful with it once it gets up above 160, 170. He said, just from what we know out of the wind tunnel on Big Red. And we're like, okay. So we go through that, and he gives us a few other pointers and gives Jimmy some pointers, which was very cool. And so we send Jimmy out, and Jimmy, the crazy madman he is, his first run was like 188 or 189, something like that. And I was like, holy cow!
That was spinning.
Yeah, spinning and carrying on, leaving, and everything else. So then we fumbled through a couple 190 190 runs, and basically we were just getting it all in the launch, and then the final shift being out close to the mile mark. Mark was trying to spread that out. I think he finally ran the final shift because it has a 4L80E in it, built that he built up for it. And I think he programmed the final shift to shift into fourth at 197 mile an hour. And then when he got it to that spread out that far, finally it hit the 202 mark. So
nice.
So we got 202. So
27.
So we're like, okay, we're going home.
Yeah, see ya.
That's great. Yeah.
Jimmy wants to get back. He'd like to do 220 with it because the car, all the numbers told us it'll go that pretty easily. So
right.
And if we can keep the hood on it and the moldings on it and everything else.
There's stuff wanting to blow off that.
The car wasn't made to go that fast.
No, it was more like 65. Hey, one thing, we had to tape the gutter molding on with Gorilla Tape. And
yeah, that Gorilla Tape will go 200 miles.
Yeah,
Gorilla Tape becomes your friend.
That's plug number 3.
Molding on.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, the hood was starting to come up. It bent our latch because it's a front opening. So we put 1/4 inch. You'd have to see them, but they slide out into the fenders. Well, he come back, and at 175, it'll bend them because he had it there. Wow. And then so now we've got 5/16 out there. I said, bends them. I don't know. Maybe you better slow down. But one thing that you guys might want to, well, Jesse and I learned a big thing about that. We kept saying we're going to go 200. Well, 200 is a huge thing.
Yeah.
So maybe say, I'm going to go 160. And if you hit 200, say, hey, we went 200. Right. Instead of having to come up to that. Had we not made that, we would have looked like asses, And we got to thinking about that. Thought, man, maybe we got to quit doing that.
You hear quite a few people doing that nowadays. But it's a damn big deal for whoever's. Huge amounts of respect to anybody even running up close to that.
There was a Hellcat there, a stock Hellcat. He must have made 30 runs.
They go through a tank of gas a day.
3 miles a gallon they were getting.
Yeah, it was a brand new car.
Brand new Hellcat, and they were running 182.
Yeah,
182.
182.
That's crazy.
With 2 different drivers.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
3 different.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And then a Camaro, Lingenfelder Camaro was there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he could get, all he was getting was 190.
Yeah.
So I thought, man, you know what? Maybe 200 is, I mean, I guess that is pretty fast if you think about it. Probably the Camaro would go over 200 in 3 miles or 4 miles, but in 1 mile?
In 1 mile,
That's the tough thing, I think.
Yeah. But what a cool experience. Troy's been doing it Troy Trapani's been doing it for a while, Alan Johnson, and all those, the guys in that group there. But hats off to them. It's pretty cool stuff.
Well, one thing you asked about the Roadster Shop, I don't know if I've got the most mileage on Roadster Shop chassis. We do have the fastest chassis on Roadster Shop.
Yep.
And we told Phil and Jeremy.
Right. I still haven't seen you guys on a calendar. I don't know what's I don't know what's going on. Maybe we got to give them a.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
They're hard as hell to get.
Was it a Roadster Shop calendar?
Yeah. Mac Tools.
Mac Tools calendar.
Okay.
Well, I think Roadster Shop owes you one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, they do.
You know what? Do they have a calendar?
They probably should just make one in your honor. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they got to have 12 different pictures of the Maverick.
Yeah, right? Every angle. Yeah, I'm sure you guys can come up with 12 good pictures.
We'll get a hold of them guys.
Well, next time you go, if you guys go out to, we discussed this before, but I'll remind you, if you guys could do that again, make sure. We'll come bring some cold spotted cow beer.
Very cool. Good. We'll take it.
If you guys are there, we'll come out. It's so much fun.
We
set our trailer up late with the awning, and I was grilling and drinking some beers, and those guys were tuning, and they were racing. And
that's the only difference with you don't drink beer during the day doing something like that, but afterwards you have a good time. But we had our cheerleaders cooking for us, so they were drinking beer.
I was a non-driver cheerleader.
Yeah.
We just didn't take any advice from him that day. Unless it involved some kind of tape.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, Jimmy though, it was cool. We were looking at the data after he'd do his run, and we'd look at every time he left. He'd try and ease into it to not spin it, and then kind of spool up and it'd spin a little, and then he'd let out, and then he'd go. He was able to just lay into it. We kept increasing the traction control on it too in the computer, and but every time you'd see a ramp to full throttle, it dipped because he spun it, and then it would almost go immediately back to full throttle, and the whole graph would just stay full throttle. I was like, damn, you're a madman.
It'd be cool to have a heart monitor on him while he was doing that.
I know it,
yeah.
Right?
It's still 55. Yeah, it's only going 55 beats per minute. It's
Right.
barely going. He's ice cold. What's going on?
No kidding.
Mark had that transmission shift out of first at 5,000 or 5,500.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let it shift until then. So if he let off and got back in it, it wouldn't downshift or upshift and then downshift. So that's what really got it going.
What kind of gearing is it running?
No, I've got a 3. The hell do I have a 320 something?
Yeah.
It's all Curry stuff in it, but we did the calculation, or Mark did the calculation with the gear, tire diameter, what the transmission gearing is, and fourth gear at our red line, which the motor will go much higher. It's a Bennett racing motor, but it's Ford small block motor, or 351 Windsor block. But we set it like at 6,800 RPM, and fourth gear it should run 239 mile an hour. So
it's all
1,000 RPM. Well, the boost was down too.
Yeah, we only saw the highest boost we seen on it was like just over 15 pounds of boost. So and on the dyno we ran it up to 16, almost 17 pounds, and it did 994 at the rear tires consistently.
Wow.
So
pump gas.
Yeah, that was
that's pump gas.
Yeah, that's pretty serious.
But you put 110 in it and flip the button, and turns into a kitty and turns into a leopard, I guess.
And what were you running at the mile? Pump gas or the race gas?
No, we were running race.
You were running race gas, right?
We were running race fuel because we had the boost set pretty high. We didn't know how far we were gonna have to run it up, and really it's questionable up there at 15 pounds on that engine. So we just went ahead and ran the race fuel in it. I know Jimmy said he saw 207 on the speedometer on the gauge. Yeah, and the race back. So he was sure. He said he didn't let out till a little past the miles. So he said, I'm sure I did 200 in the miles. So that's when, that's when he went up there and get his ticket, and it was 202. But if you're ever down near east of Jackson, Mississippi, on 20, near between Jackson and Meridian, Mississippi, that's where Jimmy's at, and you may have a silver bullet roll by you at one point or the other. Right. He's already been 170 out on 20 with it. So. That's where he's been his hood pins. Yeah, I'll probably have to. I'll probably end up, it probably won't be long. I'll either going to get it out of impound or repairing it where they towed it off, yanked it out of somewhere. Right. They've caught him doing it, but who knows? I guess that's my second, or maybe, I don't know, favorite car. Yep. That one went together so well.
I love that car. That car is incredible.
Yeah, just everything works in it, and it drives good. Yeah, good driving car. Yeah.
I think you might hold the record for cleaning up on trophies at SEMA with that thing, because you could barely see the car behind all the awards.
That was pretty amazing, and
we were amazed.
And I didn't expect that at all. Not at all. We were happy and humbled to get it all, and it was pretty cool. But one of the best up there was Chip's award from best paint with Glazeret, and then the Ford award, and getting those was really incredible. Being in the Bears booth too. That's a good one. Yeah, that's always good to be there.
Good spot in the central hall.
Yeah, it is very much so. Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, the whole car is just, those Mavericks go together so easy.
Yeah, it's just an easy, simple car.
The whole car is just so simple. So.
How long did it take to build that car?
We were off and on it for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it, it's just, a lot of it was my learning curve, just trying to make sure the cage was correct, all the blow shields were correct in it, all the SFI stuff, and then making sure it was hopefully going to do what we were setting out to do in it. And, so it was that. And Jimmy, he's cool. He just kind of steadily rolls along with them. We got the 70 GMC we have in here that I was telling you about earlier. That's his truck.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then prior to the Maverick was I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a 67 Nova that we had done as bright red car with chrome wheels on it.
Yep.
So that was Jimmy's first project with us. And, so that kind of kicked that relationship off.
So did you guys want to do the land speed stuff, or was that Jimmy, or both of you guys?
That was Jimmy in the beginning, and then as I did a little more information, or gathered some more information on it and a little more research into it, I was like, man, this is gonna be pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Might be a fun thing to do. And then I stumbled across them moving the EC, cause the Arkansas deal is what's left over of the Ohio mile, if I'm correct.
Okay.
And so they shut that track down, or that runway down, couldn't get it anymore. So they found this runway in Blytheville, and it's just a really cool, impressive place. The runway is itself, but it's the government pulled out of there back in the 90s, and the town is just decimated from it, and it's a sad thing to see there. But the facility is really cool.
So it's an old government, like a small government base?
Air Force base.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what was that damn thing? Probably.
It was 11,000 feet long.
Yeah, it was 2.25 miles long. Wow. So we didn't even use the chute on the car.
Yeah.
Because he had plenty of rundown time. Yeah.
Once he went through the mile, he just lifted, and then he just got on the brake some, and he was fine down at the turnoff, the last turnoff. So we didn't even put the chute on the car. So that was good. And but that damn thing was almost an 1/8 mile wide, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I mean,
Really?
It was just weird standing out there on it, how vast it was.
So it was built to land a huge, if you needed to.
Oh yeah, huge, thick concrete, and you had a little bit of a seam bump in it, you'd hear, but you really didn't feel it much. So it was.
There's 4 lanes you could choose.
Yeah, 4 or 5 lanes.
Different.
You could pick down the thing that you wanted to run in. So Jimmy was just running in one lane close to the center stripe, and he's just hauling butt on it. So it was pretty cool. Yep.
Yeah, if you guys need to do that one time, just experience.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's
that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I was gonna just take my truck out there and just let her rip. Just to do it.
Oh, whoops. He'd probably blow the damn visor off of the thing.
Yeah, probably the visor will come off.
Oh, it would definitely come.
Yeah.
Down Hardy engine probably will now.
At what speed does the visor come off? 130?
I haven't
120, 125?
We don't know yet. So
right.
We'll let you know.
Maybe that'll be our goal.
And can Gorilla Tape keep it on? Preemptive Gorilla Taping.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you hook it down around the hood emblem, maybe.
Yeah, run it way out there. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ramp.
Yeah. Might even go faster. It'd be like a spoiler.
You never know. A Gorilla Tape is something else.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, that's funny stuff. But yeah, even the people like the Big Red guy, the guys running Big Red, they'd come over and ask us, "What'd you run? What'd you run?"
Yeah.
They wanted to know. And the first one was 189. They just like, really?
Yeah. What were they running in Big Red?
230? No, 240.
They were trying to hit 250 that weekend, but
Holy shit.
but they blew a motor.
Yeah, he said they got a 4-speed in it, and he shifted it into 5th.
They'll do it.
Yeah, they'll do it. They don't like it, but they'll do it.
They worked all night and put a new engine in it, and they got 240 something.
Yeah. Yeah, they were getting close. They were getting real close.
Yeah, that thing's crazy.
That's totally nuts.
Where did we see that car?
SEMA? I've seen it at
but we saw it at
SEMA.
another show somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. but to see it run and those guys working on it and hear it, and it's just incredible.
Is it privately owned? Who owns?
Yeah.
I assume it's privately owned, but has
Yeah.
it been the same owner the whole time?
Oh yeah. And it's a father and son, aren't they? I think they are. And the son's the one that's only always driven it. He's a redheaded guy, super nice guy, and but yeah, all the team guys have been with the car the whole time too, and so they know it in and out through the fire it had and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool seeing them work and interact with one another, everything else. But it's a full-on race team. You know, it's their crew. Wives are with them, everything else. So it's a pretty expensive endeavor.
It's an expensive hobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was a rod bolt they found on the track. He said it looked like a 1/4-inch bolt, 4 inches long. That held the rod on to the crank. Stretched it that far. They found it.
So they'd roll with a full set of. They've got spares. They've got the whole. Full-on
2 engines, 2 transmissions, if not more, in there, in the trailer, but yeah, like Dad said, they were out all night changing the engine in it. So they had a new engine put in it, and they were running it the next day after they emptied it the afternoon before. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an addicting sport to get into, because I know a lot of guys, or a few guys, personal friends of mine, that have like gone 190, and then they like every year they're going back, they're trying to hit 200. And I think that just going like from even the mid 180s to 200, that's a big deal. You know, it takes a lot of money and a lot of horsepower to go.
That's
that little gap, you know, or to fill that little gap.
And a lot of aerodynamics too,
right,
I think.
Aerodynamics too.
Yeah. Yep.
But we got a guy. There was a guy just in a pit straight across from us, and he was on a Hayabusa, a brand new one, and he wanted to hit 200 on that thing with stock internals on the bike.
Right.
So he didn't break the engine open at all. He put a pipe on it. He's running some crazy weird smelling race fuel in it. And then he was doing some aero stuff on the bike. Man, he was hitting 199, 198.
Right.
He's just right there at it. And he was running that bike to death trying to get, I bet he was doing 20 runs a day on it. And finally, the second day, towards the end of the day, he figured out to raise his seat up a little bit, set it himself a little higher. And that changed the aero enough. He got 201.
It is a weird
stuff like that.
It's a weird number. It's like that 200. Like you said, a lot of it has to do with the aerodynamics at that speed.
Yeah.
So it is weird.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. It's cool stuff. It's a neat world. It's good camaraderie out there. And I haven't been to Speed Week at Salt or anything, but you know, and I think it's kind of like that, you know, people helping each other out and everything else, and it's just really laid back and fun deal. So I highly suggest it. So even if there's this one kid out there, he was probably 19, 20 years old. Him and his dad, he had just a bone stock. What was that? A 2001 Corvette,
yeah, black one.
Just a regular old Corvette, you know. Just wearing it out. He probably ran 20, 30 times a day, but he was having a ball, you know. Just him and
they were having a good time.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool to see.
So without any shows going on, you guys have any other big plans for the summer? Anything that hasn't been canceled yet?
Well, just Nashville in June.
Yep.
Good guys.
Yep.
Maybe I hope Columbus.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Nashville. I talked to good guys today, and Nashville's still on.
Good.
So
are you guys going there?
We'd like to.
Yeah, we would like
to.
Yeah. Good.
We wanted to go last year. Was it a rained out deal last year? Was it bad rain there or no?
It's usually one day is kind of a wet day.
But that was in April, wasn't it? Or
no,
May. Now it's in June.
Right.
So.
It'll just be hotter now, so it'll probably still be the same wetness.
Yes.
It's just sweating instead of getting rained on.
Yeah.
So
nice.
We'll bring cold beer to keep the temperatures down.
Yeah, that's what the Yeti's for.
Yeah, the red truck will be prepared, so it'll be ready.
We'll look for it.
Nice and beer.
So if people want to find you guys, where should they
Should they look for the red truck, or are you guys?
The red truck, buy it, park next to a cabin. What is it? Yeah. That's the secret.
Yeah. Red trucks out to the cabin.
Yeah.
Now there's a www.greeningautocompany.com. The word company is all spelled out. And then our Instagram is just Greening Auto Company.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the Greening Auto Company all spelled out again. The word company all spelled out.
And is your country music on Spotify? Is it where you play all your music when you're in Nashville?
Yeah, that'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
You have to subscribe.
Okay.
You can't get it free.
Yeah. If you want to hear the music, it's gonna cost you.
You got to pay.
That's right.
This banjo's not gonna play itself.
Damn right.
Oh, man.
Hey, well, as always, you guys are a good time, and
Yeah.
we hope to see you soon at a show.
Gosh, I know it.
Get
Looking
all
forward
this,
to it.
get all this stuff behind us. So
That's
Yeah,
right.
bring all them mics. We'll set on a tailgate and have more fun.
it'll get
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. I don't
Or
know if
when
I can
you're
have that one.
next time you come through town to buy a trailer, you can stop. You
Stop
can
by.
still stop here.
Yeah.
We'll make
we
you
won't
mirror.
buy a trailer, but we might just come see you.
Yeah, we'll get up there to see
All
you
right.
sometime
All right.
for sure.
And we'll be at your
So,
cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just
we'll
won't know it till you come look inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping you can take us to some breweries and restaurants.
We
Yeah.
can do
Take.
that too.
We'll take you anywhere.
We'll wine and dine you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
As long as we don't have to go by the stabbing cabin at the end.
All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Come see the stabbing cabin.
All right, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
good
guys.
talking to you.
Thank
All right,
you.
see ya.
All right.
Appreciate
Bye
it.
bye.
Later.
All right.